Multiplying polynomials. In previous grades, we have learned the distributive property. In this section, we will be expanding on this. So these first questions are something that we've done back since grade 8, and it's asking us to distribute this 2 into the brackets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to multiply it first by the x, and that'll give me 2x. And then I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to multiply it by the 1. And that will give me 2 times 1 is 2. Now I can solve the second one by doing the same process. So I'm going to have 3 times c is equal to 3c. And 3 times d is going to be 3d. Now the important thing we have to look at here is this negative sign or this minus sign in the middle. When I do this, I'm actually going to go 3 times negative d, so it's going to be a negative 3c. So following that same pattern on my third one, I'm going to have negative 4 times 2x is going to give me negative 8x. Negative 4 times negative 3y is going to give me a positive 12y, and negative 4 times positive z is going to give me negative 4z. Definitions. The first definition we're going to look at is what is a polynomial. So a polynomial is an expression of the sum of terms with whole number exponents. Within polynomials, we have a few different specialty terms that we use. The first one is monomial, and a monomial has one term. Think about it as mono means one. Examples of this would be 5x squared or maybe 32x to the 5. These are not the only examples, they're just a couple that fit this form. The second one is binomial. Binomial has two terms. So think of bicycle, that would be anything that has two terms. So we have 5x plus 7 and negative 6x squared minus 8 would be two examples of a binomial. The third one we have has three terms and it is called a trinomial. Think tri as in tricycle, has 3 wheels. Some examples of trinomials would be x squared plus 8x plus 12, or 5x to the 7 minus 8x to the 4 plus x. The last one that we have is just a general polynomial. So this means many terms, and it happens when we have 4 or more. So if I had 32 terms, it would still be called a polynomial. An example of this one is 5x cubed plus 7x squared minus x minus 1. Example, expand and simplify. So what we're going to do here is we're going to expand on our distributive property. So when I look at this first question, I have 2h plus 5 times h squared plus 3h minus 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each term separately from the first polynomial there and multiply it by each term in the second polynomial. So I'm going to take 2h and multiply by h squared. I'm going to take that same 2h and I'm going to multiply it by positive 3h, and I'm going to take that 2h and I'm going to multiply it by negative 4. When I do that portion of that, I'm going to get that 2h times h squared is 2h cubed, 2h plus 3h is 6h squared, and 2h times negative 4 is negative 8h. Once I've done that, I'm going to do the same thing with the 5. So I'm going to take and I'm going to multiply by 5 by h squared. I'm going to multiply my 5 by 3h, and I'm going to multiply my 5 by negative 4. When I do that, I'm going to get 5h squared plus 15h plus 20. Once I know that, I'm going to combine like terms. So when I look at this, I only have 1 cubed. I have 2 squared h terms. I have a regular h and a regular h, and I have a numeral. So I have, when I simplify, 2h cubed. I'm going to combine my 6h squared and my 5h squared to get 11h squared. Negative 8h plus 15h is going to give me 7h, and this negative 20 won't combine with anything, so it stays as minus 20 at the end. The second example is a little bit more complicated because we have a trinomial, 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, by a trinomial. But we're not going to do anything differently. We're going to start with this negative 3f squared, and we're going to distribute it into each of these 3 terms in our second trinomial. So we're going to have negative 3f squared times 4f squared, negative 3f squared times negative f, and negative 3f squared times negative 6. When I do that, I'm going to get negative 12f to the 4 plus 3f cubed plus 18f squared. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on this 3f. So I'm going to take 3f and I'm going to multiply it by my 4f squared. I'm going to multiply it by my negative f, and I'm going to multiply it by my negative 6. When I do that, I'm going to get positive 12f cubed minus 3f squared minus 18f. We haven't dealt with this negative 2 yet, so we're going to have another distribution, and I'm going to distribute that into the brackets the same way I have as the other 2. So I have negative 2 times 4f squared, negative 2 times negative f, and negative 2 times negative 6. When I do that multiplication, I'm going to get negative 8f squared plus 2f plus 12. My next step is to combine like terms. So when I combine my like terms, I'm going to look for anything that has a power of 4, and I only have this one, so I'm going to write it down as is, negative 12f to the 4. Something that's sometimes helpful when you have a lot of terms going on is to cross off the terms as you've dealt with them. So I've dealt with this term, I'm going to cross it off. Next, I'm going to look at cubes. So I have 3f cubed plus 12f cubed, so that's going to give me 15f cubed, and I can cross those off saying I've dealt with them. I'll look at my f squareds next. I have 18f squared minus 3f squared, so that'll give me 15f squared, minus 8f squared. So 15 minus 8 is positive 7, so I will have 7f squareds. I have negative 18f plus 2f will give me negative 16f, and my 12 is just going to be at the end there again. Looking at question C, it's a little different because it looks initially to only be one polynomial. But because we have this squared, we know that squared means multiply this by itself. So this is actually the same as asking you to find 5r plus 6t times 5r plus 6t. We're going to follow our same steps that we've been doing all the way through. We're going to start by distributing our 5r into the second set of brackets. And then once we've done that, we're going to distribute this 6t into our second set of brackets. When we do the first one, we are going to get 25r squared plus 30rt. Now when you're multiplying two different letters together, remember that they just stay rt and they just stay like that. There's no combining that you can do there. When I multiply my 6t into the second set of brackets, I'm going to get 30rt plus 36t squared. And then I'm going to combine my like terms. And when I do that, I will get 25r squared. My 30rt and my 30rt are going to give me 60rt. And we'll have 36t squared as our last term. Question D is a binomial by a trinomial, and I think by now you have a lot of experience doing this, so I'm going to ask you to pause the video, please, and try this question for yourself and see how you do. So I've gone ahead and completed the question here. If you were not able to get the right answer, what I did was I took my 3x and I multiplied it by each of my 3 terms, giving me this blue set of terms. Then I took my negative 2y and I multiplied by all the terms in that second set of brackets to get this green set of terms. And then I combined my like terms and I got 12x squared minus 17xy plus 15x minus 6y squared minus 10y. In our last example, we have 2 polynomials that are multiplied together. And then the new thing that has shown up is we have this minus sign, and we're going to subtract this third polynomial. Now, as I go through this, I'm going to start by multiplying my 3x by my 2x, and then I'm going to multiply it by my negative 4. When I do that, I'm going to get this first set of terms, so I'll get 6x squared minus 12x. My next step, I will take and multiply my positive y by my 2x and by my negative 4. That's going to give me this green set of terms of 2xy minus 4y. And my last step here, I'm going to multiply my negative 1 by my negative 2, by my 2x, and by my negative 4, giving me this purple set of terms, negative 2x plus 4. Now, this last part is the tricky thing. It actually is a distribution question. We just might not see it that way. So secretly, silently in here, I have a 1. So this is technically negative 1. And I'm going to take my negative 1 and I'm going to multiply it by this 3x and by the 2x. And when I do that, I'm going to get that negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. And negative 1 times 2y is going to give me negative 2y. Once I've done that, I can get back into combining like terms. So when I combine my like terms, I'm going to go through and I have I have a 6x squared, so I'm going to just rewrite that down. I have negative 12x minus 2x will give me negative 14x, minus 3x will give me negative 17x, so I can put that down on my next line. I only have one term that has an xy, so there's my 2xy. I have negative 4y minus 2y. That's going to give me negative 6y. And I'll have positive 4, which will go at the end. Your textbook assignment is on page 186 to 187, numbers 4, 5, 8 to 11, 14, 15, and 18a. Now 18a is a challenge question. I would like you to try it out, but if you don't get it, that's okay. We will talk about it more in class.